p.m. We have 4 of the 5 trustees here in person. Today for closed session, we have initiation of litigation pursuant to paragraph 4, subdivision D of Government Code section 54956.9. Conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to Government Code section 54956.9, subdivision D, subdivision 2. Item C, student discipline or other confidential student matters, education code at code section 35146 and 48918 and 48900, 48912 section B, and 49060 and 20 USC section 1232G. And item D, we have conference with labor negotiators, Government Code section 54957.6. And item E is public employee discipline, dismissal, release, complaint, Government Code section 54957. Are there any public comments on the closed session items today? Okay. Seeing none, we will adjourn to closed session. All right, we'll now reconvene the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. We have all 5 trustees in the room right now. So we will first start with the flag salute. Ms. Black, if you want to lead us.
Please stand. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And thank you for that. Trustee Jimenez, if you want to read the district mission statement today.
Berryessa Union School District provides all students the skills to become lifelong learners and successful 21st century global citizens.
Thank you for that. And Trustee Haug, can you help us with the norms of the Board of Trustees?
The norms of the Board of Trustees. The Berryessa Union School District Board of Trustees agree to focus on the best interest of students at all times, be respectful, listen openly, address problems and process, not persons, keep each other informed, maintain confidentiality, work toward the future, learn from the past, equal participation from all members, and stay on task.
Thank you for that. Item D is disclosure of action taken in closed session. Dr. Fuentes, can you help me with that?
Sure, thank you. During a closed session this evening, the board voted to approve a settlement agreement resolving the complaint of a former employee filed with the California Civil Rights Department, former employee number 8050067. Under the terms of the agreement, which was approved unanimously by the board, the former employee agrees to withdraw their Civil Rights Department complaint with the district and waives and releases the district from any and all legal and potential claims relating to or arising out of their Civil Rights Department complaint filed. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Dr. Fuentes. Item E is adoption of agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda today?
I move to adopt the agenda.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Agenda is adopted unanimously. There's nothing under recognition or ceremonial. Are there any public comments on consent calendar agenda items today? No. All right. Seeing none, we'll move to consent calendar. Are there any questions? If not, I'd appreciate a motion on the consent calendar for today.
I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Consent calendar is adopted. Thank you. Yeah. All right. There we go. All right. Oh, there we are. Okay. So at this time, we'll have comments from the public on non-agenda items. We have 9. All right. Oh. Okay. All right. Before I bring up the speakers, sorry about that. Let me quickly go through the speaker conduct. Give me just 1 second, please. For all those who wish to address the board during public comment periods, speakers are requested to state your name and affiliation for the record. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to address the board, 5 minutes per organization, and a maximum of 20 minutes per topic. Speakers are reminded to communicate with respect, fairness, and courteousness to each other and to all present. You're reminded not to use the name of any district employee in your comments. The board welcomes orderly communication from the public. All right, with that, let's bring up Mr. Robin James Udigard from CSEA.
Okay. Hello, members of the Board of Trustees, Superintendent Fuentes. My name is Robin James Udegaard, the Labor Relations Representative from California School Employees Association's Berryessa 364 chapter. I'm here today to express some serious concerns that CSEA has on a few different items. The main issue that we're here to talk about, the main concern, is not enough classroom support in special education classrooms. In this 24-25 school year, which many paraeducators believe has been the most difficult, one of the most, if not the most difficult school year they've ever experienced. Many classrooms that, in particular, moderate to severe classrooms have paraeducators. They have been reduced from 3 paraeducators to 2 paraeducators. And even in some moderate to severe classrooms, CSEA is hearing that there's only 1 paraeducator with 1 teacher in the classroom. There clearly is not enough support to meet the needs of the students and to provide a safe learning environment for the students. What is even more concerning is that CSEA is hearing during this 24-25 school year, some paraeducators showed up to the first day of work, and that is the first time that they were notified that they were being transferred to a different school site or a different classroom. The district's answer to that is that they tried to notify all the paraeducators during the summertime, but some people maybe moved and had different addresses. That is not what a CSEA is hearing from our members. Some people stated to us that they have not moved, and there was no advance notice provided. While we appreciate the district offering, and CSEA agreed to increase paraeducators that were less than 6 hours to being increased to 6 hours per day for the 24-25 school year. And while we understand it's the district's managerial prerogative to make those administrative transfers, we feel that the district was not careful enough that with the way that those administrative transfers took place. And certainly union members should have known before the first day that they returned to work that they were being administratively transferred. There's not enough paras in certain classrooms to support toileting of students, where they would like to have 2 paras to support the toileting, and they're having to leave the classroom to help a student, and then the students in the classroom are not being supported, and the student who needs to have assistance with toileting is not getting enough support. The district has said they're hiring roving paras, which are sometimes maybe being contracted out with agencies, which the district knows, according to the Education Code of California, can only happen on a limited basis, and you need to negotiate the impacts and effects of that with CSEA, which has not happened. The roving para solution is only a temporary solution. They are providing inconsistent support to the classrooms, where the paraeducators are not able to take their lunch breaks at the same time on a regular basis every day. And sometimes the roving paras show up only to supervise students while they're eating lunch. That is not enough support. We have asked the district for an injury report a couple of weeks ago. We were told we would get the report this week on October 18th. In some cases, I'm hearing there's over 40 injuries already to our members in this school year. Some of these classrooms, especially moderate to severe classrooms, we believe need to have 3 paras again, so that at some point in the day they're overlapping and that there's 3 paras to those moderate to severe classrooms. CSEA is also hearing that there's parent volunteers in certain schools. We hope that is not occurring. While CSEA respects and appreciates the parents of the district, that is unlawful. If the district wants to bring in volunteers to the classrooms, that has to be negotiated with CSEA, and that the parents cannot take away the work of CSEA unit members. And it's not safe for the students because they haven't received the training. But first and foremost, it needs to be negotiated. That's a mandatory subject of bargaining. So we hope the board will look into concerns about parent volunteers and make sure that that is not happening. And if the district does have an interest in bringing volunteers into the classrooms, bring that to CSEA's attention so we can consider negotiating something related to volunteers. We asked the board to visit the moderate to severe classrooms in all of the work sites around the district, all the school sites around the district. Visit those moderate to severe classrooms and stay for more than 5 minutes, and you'll see how hard things are. The last item I'm going to mention very quickly is we have an administrative secretary working in maintenance, and for quite some time, over a year, the district has directed her to perform, the member in that role has been directed to perform the work of a transportation dispatcher. That is not CSEA's job. That is Teamsters work. I have talked to the business agent from Teamsters, and we have told them CSEA has never said that that's our work. Only in emergency circumstances should our member, who's the administrative secretary, be helping out with transportation dispatching. She needs training on that. It has to stop. That's the Teamsters work.
Thank you for this comment.
Good evening. My name is Sheku Habibi. I am the chapter president, and I would like to request the board to It's okay. I believe my card is not there. I did not send in the card, but I wanted to, I want to transfer my, I would like to request the
All right.
board to give my time, allow my time to.
We'll consider your position on CSE and I will allow you to speak.
Yes,
Go ahead,
thank you.
please.
I would like to give my time to Edith Lucido, if it's possible. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Edith Lucido, and I am a paraprofessional currently working at Brooktree Elementary School, and I think I've been employed with the district for a little over 10 years. I have lived at Berryessa Unified School District for over 30 years, so this is my home, this is my community, this is my heartbeat. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I want to address critical concerns regarding the removal of a paraprofessional from our classrooms this school year. This has had a significant consequence for both our students and the staff, especially at my school at Brooktree Elementary School. And by the support of our other paras, our other schools, we are a family, we are a unit. With the reduction of 3 paras down to 2, we are finding it increasingly challenging to provide the quality of education our students deserve. The rise in staff injuries, coupled with inadequate staffing, we are forced to make decisions based on student safety instead of educational benefits of the students. In our school alone, we have had 14 injury reports from August 15th to yesterday, 14, compared to last year, a total of 11 injuries for the whole school year, and that's just our Brooktree. With our other paras behind me from different schools, they have had over 40 injuries, reports that we have to file. So we're begging you to please reconsider. I'm sorry. This has directly impacted our ability to conduct essential daily living services as stated in our contract. For example, assisting students with medical feeding needs, also bathroom needs, such as diaper changing. It has become increasingly difficult. It has required so much more time and dedication. With the lack of that one extra person, it leaves our classroom helpless, defenseless, in situations that arise with escalations and, elopements. So when student escalation occurs, the lack of adequate staff support further complicates our ability to respond effectively. In an instance of an eloper, a situation is particularly concerning when a student leaves the classroom. It is often required that the removal of the remaining para in that classroom has to leave to assist the student, to bring the student back, to keep the student safe, while our teacher or vice versa, where this teacher goes out and leaves us with the student. The whole education of the IEP goal curriculum ceases, it stops. We cannot provide that service, so now we're idling. And for us, we need to implement our IEP goals for our students to meet, the needs of that student and to be successful for the future of our students. While these may seem like manageable challenges, they're compounded when it happens frequently throughout the school year. This is a direct impact to us and our students for the coming year. So it just because it's happening today, it doesn't mean it ends today. It means it's a lasting effect that affects us all, from the parents to the students to us as a staff. So I just wanted to say our district, and I'm sorry, I'm going to give another example. There has been a rise in staff injuries. And when there are staff members injured and we need, substitutes, when we do receive our substitutes, they're coming into our classroom really not knowing what to do. They're coming into our classroom asking us for guidance. So in essence, we are now taking in another person who we're trying to teach them as we're trying to teach our students. So to be successful, we need to have the proper staff who, like Mr. Robbins said, who knows, or Ms. Shaku said, who knows our students. We need somebody who's there permanently, who has that relationship, who has that rapport. We've been in this business for a long time, and I can tell you that we have deep, deep relationships with our students. So thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Okay. So we'll call the next speaker up. I think it says Jiang Yu Tang. Jiang Yu Tang, is that right? Okay.
It's me. Okay. So, neighbors and members of the board, my name is Jiang Yu Tang. I'm a parent in the Ruskin Elementary and Claremont Middle School. And I'm here to talk about the school consolidation committee's work in voting which schools to close. It is not a topic that is on the agenda today, and it's not a topic that you guys want to hear, I know. And you guys might not be aware of what's going on in that committee. That's why I want to bring this up. So what happened last time is that they have voted to close Claremont. And now on the short list, on top of the short list of elementary schools to close, they've put Cherrywood and Ruskin. Now, all three schools, Claremont, Cherrywood, and Ruskin, are right next to each other. They're in the same community, serving the same neighborhood. They're in the same neighborhood. And they have decided to close all three schools in the same neighborhood. I don't have to stress how devastating it's going to for that neighborhood if all three schools in that neighborhood is going to be closed. Why are they doing that, right? Why are they doing this? They are doing this because some outside financial analyst company said by closing these three schools, you'll be saving some additional 50K or something. That's why they've picked those three schools. The thing is, the board, right, the school board didn't tell them that you have to close three schools. You have to close the three schools that can save the most money. The board simply said, close any three schools, and you'll be okay to balance the school budget, right? So in order to save some additional money, which we don't even need to balance our budget, they're going to close all three schools in a community, devastating that community. They're going to create a vacuum of schools right in the center of our school districts. So to save some additional dollars, which we don't even need to balance our budget, they're going to close Ruskin, a nationally recognized blue ribbon school, while keeping failing schools open. To save some money, which we don't even need to balance our budgets, they're going to close Ruskin, whose math program is so strong that it is ranked number 2 in the entire Bay Area in the National Math League. Number 2, behind only Harker, a private school that has a 50K annual tuition. And we are a public school. I mean, talk about effective use of taxpayer dollars here. If we want to save
Thank you for
money,
your comments. time. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. The next speaker I have on the card is, it just has KC on it.
I need to push. Can you hear me? Hi. To all board member, I'm Casey. I'm parents of 3 kids in Ruskin and Ceramon Middle School. And yeah, our family chose to these neighborhoods because of the 3 school that is nearby. We can send our school kids by walking to school instead of driving. So we choose this. Okay. Today, as a concerned parents and community member, I request the board to intervene the consensus process of the consultants that in the school consolidation advisory committee. In their recommendations, their consensus process to me is not up to standard. I mean, the way they try to do is based on predetermined criteria or whatever, because what we see there is that when the 4 subgroup of the school consolidation committee member made the recommendations and there is no consensus, they try to like eliminate each of those schools that shortlisted by arbitrary ranking process. So those processes are not really transparent. So we think that that consultant is not really doing the job that given by the school district. It is disturbing to see that because all the 2 schools that my kids go to are at the high risk of the closure. As a parent, I'm really concerned on this matter. And I also think of like the board member to think of other alternative. Yeah, I know you guys have gone through the budgets, go through the orders spending in very detail, but I would still see there are still way that you could save the expenditures, because from what I see or what everyone see, the enrollment is dropped, but our expenditure is still going up. I mean, I know during the COVID, there are additional fundings, but I want the board member to try to constrain the spending drastically at this stage, and we should work together to ensure our schools are protected and our children receive the best education they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Next speaker I have is Nina Seth. Nina Seth.
Thank you, board members. My name is Nina Seth, and I've been a community member here in Berryessa District for over 40 years. I'm actually an alumni of Ruskin Elementary and Piedmont Hills. And I am gravely concerned that the School Consolidation Committee is looking to close Ruskin and Sierramont, which are located right next to each other. It does not make sense to have a vacuum in that community. What is going to happen to this district? We already know that parents are going to pull their kids out of school. We know property values are going to go down. And we know that people are not going to want to move to this area. We have so many neighbors right now who have moved to this area in the last 5 years. Young couples, people with young children, people with no children. That's going to go away. And here's the other thing. During my outreach to my neighbors, no seniors on my street knew about this. 0. My parents are in their 80s. Most of my neighbors are in their 70s and 80s. No one knew. There has been a lack of transparency. I only found out about this on Nextdoor 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago. And I am very politically active in this community. I get the local paper. I get the local newsletters. I had no inkling that any of this was going on. And I'm active. But imagine my older neighbors. They had no clue. People like my parents have been voting to support the Berryessa schools for the last 40 years, as have their neighbors. I can only imagine that if their schools are closed, that support might not be there. So I think that's something to keep in mind, is that it's not just the parents. You have a vast majority of community members who had students in these schools 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, who have supported this district. But that support is contingent on these schools being open. If these schools closed, I can't guarantee that my parents or other seniors are going to be interested in supporting the school district. And these are homeowners supporting bond measures. Keep that in mind. Lastly, I just think this entire process has been rushed. It is flawed. There are issues with the data. There's issues with transparency. And I would ask that we don't rush this. I mean, there's absolutely no reason to rush this. The community does not support this. And you will need the community support beyond the decision for these schools. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. The next speaker is Luna. Next speaker is Luna.
Thank you. I want to say that I've been very emotional after I read the meeting minutes for the last committee meeting. I try my best to calm down and finish my comments here. Good evening, everyone. My name is Luna, and I'm here tonight to express my deep concern regarding the handling of the school consolidation process, particularly the role of the consulting firm hired to guide the Consolidation Advisory Committee. The repeated errors and a lack of transparency raise serious questions about the competency of the consulting firm leading this critical process. First, I'd like to highlight the recurring issue. Despite receiving emails about the errors in the middle school summary during the September 5th meeting, the narrowed weighted score for the elementary school was again calculated incorrectly during the October 3rd meeting. These recurring mistakes suggest an arbitrary approach to manage critical data, raising significant concerns about the accuracy and the consistency of the scoring process, especially given the complexity of the data involved in the scoring criteria. In addition to the scoring error, the process lacks transparency in how the consulting firm arbitrarily adjusts a score during the meeting. During the October 3rd meeting, the projector was turned off while changes were made, and it was turned back on. No one explained what has been changed or why. The lack of communication not only feels manipulative, but also undermines the integrity of the entire process. Moreover, the criteria used to rank the schools were provided by the consulting firm, not the committee members. Members were not informed that different criteria could be suggested or could be weighted differently. And when they raised important concerns, they were told these concerns could not be quantified. But isn't the firm was hired specifically to quantify and analyze these complex issues? Furthermore, the voting methodology was flawed as well. Committee members were divided into small groups, but stronger voice dominates some discussions, skewing results. To make a matter worse, committee members were pushed to move a school they have ranked first from the final list. The manipulation of the process is unacceptable. I don't know how hard it is to collect the rankings for 20 with 30 members, but the consulting firm struggled to manage it. It demonstrated a clear lack of competence and an inability to ensure a fair and a balanced process. So I understand the recommendation is from the committee, but the discussion is facilitated by the consulting firm, and they led the discussion to the results they want. And the last to add, the October 3rd meeting minutes didn't record what actually happened and is very misleading. In conclusion, I urge the board to carefully consider the role of the consulting firm and their recommendations. Their repeated error, lack of transparency, and flawed methodology are jeopardizing the integrity and the critical decision of our district. The future of our schools and the education of our children were too important to be left in the hands of a firm that demonstrated incompetency in every step. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. The next speaker up is Janet Yu. Janet.
Hello, good evening, board members and superintendents. So my comment is actually in regards to the role of the superintendents after the proposed school closures. Since there are plans to reduce the number of schools from 13 to 10, which decreases the responsibility. With less schools, less principals, teachers, and students, what is the plan to actually reduce the number of superintendents? Because we're decreasing by about a quarter. We probably don't need oversight by about a quarter because there will be less teachers, less students, less superintendents. So with that said too, with the declining enrollment and financial constraints that has been happening over the last few years, I want to know how the superintendents and the board members approved a 6.5% pay increase for you guys, knowing that there has been teacher layoffs, staff reductions, especially after listening to them talk about the issues of lacking staff in their classrooms. How is it that you guys were able to approve a 6.5 increase? I can probably speak for most people in this room that I have never in my life, in my 15 years of working, had more than anything over a 5% increase, and that did not even happen at a yearly level. So a 6.5% increase in a company or in a position that apparently our financial constraints is happening, that we had given you guys a pay raise. I don't understand how that happened. And I just want to know why that is moving forward, and if when schools close, are we going to have some type of retroactive like pay decrease for this? Because your role has significantly decreased when these schools close. So we can actually provide the resources for our teachers where they are actually needed. And mind you, this happened. This pay increase happened when the teachers were working without a contract either. So I don't understand why they were working without contracts while you guys were taking pay increases and they're not getting the support. We parents are bringing all the supplies into the classroom. I probably myself donated over $500 to the school last year. I can't say how much other people have donated, but why is that happening? That's all. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. The last question I have is J-I-E, Zhu.
Hello. Good evening. Good evening, everyone, and good evening. Thank you for your service and thank you for your efforts and time, dear superintendent and other members of the board. So my name is Jie Zhou, a parent of 2 students in this district. I moved to this district 10 years ago, attracted by the school quality here. And as you can imagine, I'm deeply concerned and disturbed by the fact that we are talking about school consolidation. And also I'm quite concerned about the criteria that was proposed by the district and the consulting company. I think as many other parents have voiced this evening that the criteria is somewhat arbitrary and it's deeply weighted by the consideration of the cost saving side. And I believe budget balancing in education is not just a one-dimensional issue. While cost-saving measures are very important, they represent only one side of the coin, and the other side, which is arguably much more crucial, is to keep our current revenue and even generating more revenue. So as we consider school closures, 2 very critical questions emerge. The first is how can we retain our current students within the public school system? And the second one is what strategies are we employing to attract more families to our district if we are closing some of our best schools? I mean, unfortunately, I think these vital considerations were overlooked during the discussion of the school consolidation, which is still ongoing, but I don't see any data or research related to that has been provided to the school consolidation committee. And a typical response I got is that, okay, you cannot predict the future, but we don't have a crystal ball, but just like study the demographic data to predict the enrollment trend. We can also study what are the top factors all the families consider. According to National Center of Education Statistics, academic achievements and the curriculum performance ranked among the top 4 factors. By closing our academically high performance schools, we risk losing our competitive edge in attracting future students and thereby jeopardizing future revenue streams. And also we may risk losing our current students. Secondly, I think why don't we just run survey to directly ask our current families? We still have time to collect this piece of data. We can run survey in the 5th graders family, which middle school is their top choice. And if this one is going to be closed, what would you do? Would you stay in our district and move to a different school? Or would you go to move out of district or even go to a private school? And we should actually ask the same question to all of our current elementary school and the middle schoolers. So what would you do? So then by doing that, yeah, I think we still have time to do that. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. That's all I have for public comments. Thank you, everybody, for their engagement. Really appreciate it. We'll move forward now with our next item on the agenda, item 10 under reports and presentations. We have quarterly report on Williams complaints. Dr. Fuentes.
Thank you. At this time, I ask Dr. McCreary to please provide the update regarding our quarterly report.
No complaints were filed with any school in the district during the quarter, July 1st through September 30th. Thank you.
Thank you for that. This approval. That's this report. Right. Next item we have is a Mindful Leaders project presentation. Dr. Fuentes.
Thank you. This evening, I have the pleasure of introducing or reintroducing to the board Dr. Nikki Elliott. She'll be coming forward. Today, she will be sharing with you the progress that our school district has made as being a longtime partner now with Mindful Leaders Project. I know we've had several of our staff members, teachers, classified staff that have really gained a lot of benefit from the professional development training opportunity. And now we're at a new stage where we have existing staff working with Dr. Nikki to become our own internal strategy keepers and long-term staff developers themselves. So this evening, Dr. Nikki will be providing you with an overview of the range of skills we've been able to build capacity on these past few years that we've been in partnership. Dr. Nikki, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Fuentes, and thank you to the board for this opportunity to connect with all of you today. We are now in our 3rd year of engagement together with the Strategy Keepers, but 4 years overall with the district. And as I'm very sensitive to all the concerns that you all are managing now, these skills that we're learning and teaching are supportive for all of us, both at the student level, the teacher level, as well as at the community level. So I'm very excited to support the internal capacity that's being built to help you achieve all of your goals and to model the kind of society that we want to bring forward for all of our children. We were tasked at the beginning of our work together with Dr. Fuentes, and I just want to acknowledge Dr. Joe as well as Nicole Paredes for the exceptional leadership with coordinating our team. It's been a wonderful partnership. Initially, we envisioned a full 75 hours of content. So just to frame, I am a clinical professor of education at the University of San Diego in the School of Leadership and Education Sciences. When we first began, I was at the University of Laverne, where I ran the Center for Neurodiversity, Learning, and Wellness. So what we did for you all in our first engagement was to adapt coursework that we delivered in our master's degree program in special ed, as well as in our neurodiversity certificate. So your staff and teachers received graduate level content. And we started that off split into 3 levels at 75 hours worth of training. And they did earn continuing education units from the university for those who adopted that. In that first year, those 3 levels were really helping us look at neuroscience, what we call applied educational neuroscience. So we're looking at how the brain and nervous system function for learning. This has significant implications for helping support your general education teachers in being able to have the foundational knowledge that they need to provide more what we call neuro-inclusive classrooms. So the goal part of that was to address some of the significant disproportionality as well as some of the racialized marginalization that happens. And so in this capacity building, we hope that we would see over time a decrease in the numbers of children that are referred out unnecessarily for special ed or particularly for behaviors, as well as increasing capacity within the staff for managing the stressors that are involved, particularly for those that have special ed placements. So that first level had a lot to do with the teachers learning themselves, how their own brains and nervous systems are impacted by the stressors of the classroom work. Level 2 took a look at interpersonal mindfulness, which mindfulness means awareness in our neuroscience context. And that was where they became aware of the impact of implicit bias on their ability to connect and relate to students, particularly those who have differing identities. And then in level 3, this has a big part in our understanding of supporting students who are neurodiverse in the general ed classroom, is understanding how nervous system sensory challenges impact students' ability to regulate behavior. So that piece was a significant part of the work, and we wanted to I definitely acknowledge you and thank you for the resources that were put into those teachers' classrooms to make modifications, and I'll be showing you what a few of that provided. So this was our first group. We started off at level 1 with 40 participants. We are very proud that by the end of the first level, we kept all 40. By the end of the level 3, year 1, we had 36 remain. So we had a 90% retention rate of your faculty and staff. And what I'm most proud of here was your commitment. What we stand firmly on in this work is that every adult who touches the life of a child has the capacity to either co-regulate, meaning to provide conditions where that child can settle and come online for learning, or potentially co-escalate, which means to be a part of escalating behaviors. And that can happen at the front desk when the child enters school. It can happen in the library, on the playground, in the cafeteria. And this group represents a beautiful mixture of both classified and certificated staff. The only criteria was the commitment to complete. And even today in who I'll be highlighting, we still maintain that balance of certificated plus classified plus counselors and therapists and site leaders leading the charge of this work, which is a big, unique proposition that most districts are now. I have another county, neighboring county is asking for the Berryessa treatment now. So they're asking to model what we're doing here and to take it countywide. So here I highlighted this because so many times people think mindfulness is just about breathing. And what I want to assure you all, because sometimes there's this thought that, oh, there's Dr. Nikki, she just wants to help you breathe. So I just want to solidify, I do want you to breathe. But the grounding point of this is what we call applied educational neuroscience. So your strategy keepers, as well as everyone in the district, your site leaders, your cabinet, have had a significant grounding in the science of these practices, and what they have led to is a significant increase in your teachers' ability to support students. Particularly, I'm very sensitive to the aides that were just here speaking about the increase in injuries and the escalations of student behavior. This understanding, if it can, as it continues to spread with your in-house capacity, can support your aides in being able to manage some of the stress, as well as tools that we can continue to use to support those neurodivergent learners, particularly those on the spectrum and those who experience emotional disturbance. So when you see these brains and you connect it to mindfulness, I want you to be clear that we are consistently seeing improvements in the places where teachers are building capacity, where everyone who comes into contact with a child has the same grounding on how to support those children and to de-escalate those behaviors. So here I leave this data here for you to read. This was just showing the definite commitment that your every dollar you invested into this program was met with 100% attendance rates, 99% Zoom follow-up rates. So the commitment and the work that was delivered was very strong. And what I'd like to point out here very briefly, what we saw in transformation with your teachers, significant amounts of teachers that experience insomnia, that experience high levels of stress that impact their ability to hold space for children, especially when they're under challenge. And in their mindfulness journals, many reported some, I stopped using my inhaler, some I'm sleeping through the night now. And that might sound like small things, but that's very significant as it relates to the capacity that teachers bring into the classroom in their work. In level 2, they were given a co-regulation challenge, meaning to pick a student that they struggle with and to focus for 15 school days, which was 3 school weeks, on applying the neuroscience strategies that we taught to make a difference with that child's behavior. And this was one example, a teacher saying, now that a child that I thought was always shut down and disconnected, now that child has taken his hoodie off, he's seeking me out for help and looking me in the eye. So this has definite consequences when teachers are assuming that students in shutdown behaviors just are apathetic and don't care about school. Another thing that was significant is that at the end of year 1, about 30% of the teachers that we, as our closeout survey, were mentioned that they were considering possibly leaving the profession before they started the work with us. But they are now finding such a sense of meaning and leadership in the work that many people are saying, I love my job again, I'm committed to the district, I'm committed to growing in leadership. So we're very proud of that because it's better to keep and retain and support than to keep the HR mill going, as you all know. In the second year, we did one-on-ones. I showed up monthly, and all of the remaining strategy keepers in the program, we wanted to implement, and I wanted to see in each classroom that they were implementing the things that they were learning before they would start to present themselves as leaders for your district. We did coaching skills for an entire year and building their capacity to support their peers. They had monthly coaching calls with me, one-on-one site visits, and then last year they did breakout room facilitations with me as I showed up to lead in person. I got to see some amazing work underway and transformations in the classroom. I know that you got to hear a lot of the struggles that people face and the hard decisions that you all have to make as a board, but I just wanted to give you a peek inside of some of the amazing things that the teachers are implementing in the classroom. This is Ms. Sandhya Raman at Morel. She was really revamping and revisiting ways to get children more up and interactive in the math class space. We have Ms. Bhavana Shrinkant. She has an autism class, and she used some of the funds that were given to create this sensory tent for students on the spectrum when they are overwhelmed. We know this often have lighting sensitivity, sound sensitivity. They could name that they needed a break. They could set a timer and tell her how long they needed to relax. They could come in here, even take work in there. And the students were highly responsible to go into the sensory tent, reset, come back out, and rejoin for learning. So that has, as she reported, made a significant difference in the climate of her classroom. What I would say is one of the most complete implementations of the work that I witnessed was at Laneview with Isabel Peters. So every level 1, intrapersonal, she shows up twice a week for her own personal nervous system support. We continue to meet twice a week. Many of the strategy keepers here join me online twice a week for all these years. Interpersonal, she has the students now able to name what nervous system state they're in. They're able to put their tag on to tell them whether they feel shut down or mobilized. And if you see here, they're able to pick which type of mind-body practice will help them shift nervous system state. So the children are being empowered, which is a significant shift in the classroom climate. In level 2, she makes her anti-bias curriculum very clear for students, respecting cultural differences in name and in relation, building a much stronger, cohesive classroom environment across differences. She has implemented differentiated instruction for her independent learners and able to provide executive functions coaching where she stays with the students who need her support, which was beautiful to witness. She used some of the funds to get flexible seating. We understand the nervous system needs of students with ADHD and autism. And this is a student on the spectrum who is able to benefit from having that spinning chair, because we know clockwise spinning activates the vagus nerve, and that student was able to stay fully engaged in learning. So this is just an example of her daily leading the mind-body practices, which she has shared has made a significant difference as of last year in the quality of her classroom climate. And it was awesome to watch the students participating. This is Elaine Schultz, who splits between Laneview and Cherrywood, so she's able to bring these practices one-on-one when students need pullouts for the work that is more intensive that one could be done in a group. So now we're down in year 3. So this is the year 2. I would like to let you read that on your own because I want to be sensitive to your time. Right now we're in year 3, and what I'm most excited about now and committed to is building internal capacity. So in this room last week was the very first time that your strategy keepers fully led the immersion program with me giving feedback. So I just want to take a moment here to acknowledge Maria Fregoso, and I want to acknowledge Sarah Krenz. And what I want to really highlight here is the fact that we have a classified administrative assistant teaching side by side with a certificated teacher, which means that they together can partner and deliver this work to your front office staff throughout the district and really leveling the playing field. They have given equal commitment to this work, and it has been really beautiful to witness. And so this is their partnership, teaching all of the brain science, and by the end of this year, they will be ready to take on this work. And so the path forward here will be a consolidation of this work from 75 hours to 25. We're recognizing it's hard with budget constraints to get people to do level 1, level 2, level 3. So we have condensed it at the University of San Diego to 1 2-day immersion and then 7 Zoom sessions that will consolidate level 1 through 3 to make it more financially feasible for you to deliver this work. Also, having built this in-house capacity by the end of the year, you will also save money on external consulting, but the work will live with my ongoing support. So those 7 pillars now of the Heart Center Connections will continue to build the adult's nervous system capacity. We will continue to work on equity and co-regulation. We'll continue to work on teaching sensory work to design neuro-inclusive learning environments. We will teach with the brain in mind, so explicit teaching on executive functions to support students with learning differences, mindful communication skills to support de-escalation, elevating hope, choice, and agency for students who have experienced trauma, and then learning to survey the community to understand the degree to which we have successfully embodied equity. So with that, I just want to take this last moment to just ask if all the strategy keepers who are in attendance could stand and just acknowledge over 100 hours worth of committed work to growing this. And Betty, please. And so all of Miss Corey, Miss Juanita, Miss Brenda, and Miss Betty are all underneath, coaching underneath Maria and Brenda. And by the end of this year, you will have 15 strategy keepers who will be fully certified to facilitate and lead this work and to save money and keep it in-house. Thank you so much for your trust and your partnership. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nikki. Yep. First of all, it's an honor for us to have you speak at our board meeting. It's always great to see you. Comments from the board, like any.
I just have a quick comment. Dr. Nikki, thank you so much for your work. You know, whenever I speak to folks in the district, you know, they're so excited about the work that you're doing. And this is really the path forward, the path that I see our district moving forward to help support our students, our staff, everyone involved. And so just thank you so much for your work. This is something that I'm really passionate about. I love seeing the work. I love all the strategy keepers here. And I really envision our district really fully encapsulating this work and having this be flourishing even without it. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been an honor. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you for those comments. Ms. Boat, if you have anything to say.
Thank you, Dr. Nikki, for everything you've done for our wonderful and talented teachers here, and where the students can truly benefit. Thank you. And for themselves as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's an honor.
For sure. And I'll echo the sentiments of my colleagues on the board. And, you know, we really appreciate the commitment and the dedication. And, you know, it's personally, it's a personal comment from me. It's an honor to hear you speak. You know, I like your content and things like that. So it's always a pleasure. I've heard you speak a couple of times before. So it's always a pleasure to you know, get reintroduced to those concepts again, and understand a little bit more each time what those things are. And, we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just want to confirm we are packaging this final version. And so all of the strategy keepers who are certified will have unrestricted access to teach from those fully packaged and licensed version of the work, which will include instructional videos to build in-person communities of practice. So I want to honor all of you for taking the journey with me and to be sure that you know that the work will always be available to you to continue. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you once again. The next item on the reports and presentations, we have Measure U, Construction Bond Program Update. Dr. Fuentes.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Tony Conestab, our Director of Bond Facilities and Modernization, for his monthly update report.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. We'll start with, so we had a new aerial done of Piedmont, so you can see the new gym on the campus. Again, we'll go through the updates we have and then the schedule. So the first thing we've actually completed this month was the fire alarm for Brooktree and Summerdale. Projects out to bid. We're going to receive bids for Brooktree and Ruskin next week sometime. Things that are in progress, the Piedmont Gym project, the electrical site, we have all the parts, so we're going to bid that. So hopefully we'll have that at the December board meeting to award. Oops, sorry. Again, the PA replacement at Piedmont, that'll be completed the middle of November. The fire alarm at Majestic Way should be completed by the end of this month. And then the security projects for Noble, Summerdale, and Toyon, those are going to start in about 2 weeks, and we hope to have done by the end of the year. And then the HVAC replacement at 1376, the old district office, we're going to start receiving parts for the mechanical units in December, and the remaining mechanical units will be March, so that'll be done the end of March. The window replacement, they're going to start installing windows the February break. The exhaust fan project, over the break, they actually replaced about 60% of the fans at the 4 schools we're working on. The rest of them they'll do at Thanksgiving and then the holiday break. Monument signs, those are all actually installed. They're going to actually start installing the lettering next week for all the schools. And then the comprehensive infrastructural renewal and utilities assessment, they actually installed all the lightings. We're doing the punch list right now, which is basically walking through and making sure they installed everything and making sure it's correct. Things in design, warehouse project, we're still working on that design for that. That's actually in the DSA. Public address, as soon as we get the numbers and we start moving on from Ruskin and Piedmont, we'll pick 2 more projects and move forward with those for bidding. Because again, the idea is once we get the 2 done, we'll go move to the next 2 and we'll just keep going until we're done. Fire alarm replacement at Toyon, Vinci Park, and Northwood. Vinci Park's at DSA right now. Toyon and Northwood will go in the next few weeks. We hope to have those done over the summer. Again, security alarm projects, kind of the same thing we're doing with the PA. As soon as those other 3 done, we'll move on to the next 3. And then the remaining part of the comprehensive renewal and utility assessment projects, the mechanical units, we've received some of the smaller units. They're going to start putting them in during the breaks. So for like the IDF rooms and things like that, the MDF rooms, they're going to replace all their single units. And then the bigger projects for the mechanical and the solar are expected to go to DSA in December, with work being done this summer and being completed by the end of the summer. The fencing projects, we're designing fencing, basically the perimeter fencing for Cherrywood, Morel, Toyon, and Vinci Park. And then Vinci Park, we just started working on a design for replacing the exterior walls, perimeter fencing, the exterior door and frame replacement on all the exterior doors, office reconfiguration, pod reconfiguration, basically cleaning up the pod areas, and then ADA scope. And then this is just a graphic schedule of how we plan to get all this complete. And again, this is just another view of Piedmont. Any questions?
Any questions from the board? I had a quick question on
Sure.
just a couple of quick questions on the monument. Do we have like a template or a sample on how the lettering will look like? Will it be unique to each school and the colors and things like that? Or
Everything's going to be the same.
Standard template
Standard across all the schools.
Can do that.
It's basically the name of the school and the address.
Yeah. Okay. And the same color will be the same
exactly.
And the other thing was about the fencing project. You said the perimeter fencing. Are we replacing the chain link kind of fence with like a?
At which school?
So you had.
Let me go back.
You had Noble, Cherrywood. What did you have? You had.
So at Cherrywood,
Fencing
it's the front fencing. So we are going to move it so that basically where the fence is right now, when you walk in, we're going to push it back so you can actually enter the admin without going through the fence. And so the fence will be pushed back so it'll be closed off. So you can't walk into the school.
Oh, right now you have to walk into this.
Right.
And the other
Morel, it's around basically where the portables are. And then basically Wing B is accessible from the fields. We're going to fence that off so you can't do that. Toyon is actually the whole back fence because it's only a 5-foot fence. We're going to make it a 6-foot fence. And then Vincy Park, again, it's where the two, right at the admin where the two kinders are, or the two classrooms are, we're going to fence that in. So then all the classrooms will be within a fenced area. Because at Vincy, those are the only two that aren't fenced in.
So that's interesting. And will they be like, I mean,
so
replaced with similar ones or
yeah, so like Vincy Park will put in a wrought iron fence. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. That's the word I was missing too.
Toyon will be a chain link fence.
Okay.
Morel will be chain link, and then Cherrywood will be the same thing. It'll be a wrought iron fence.
That's what they have now.
Yeah, exactly.
Back, so. Okay, good. All right. Thank you. Thank you for those updates. Really appreciate it. All right. Moving forward, we have the superintendent's report, Dr. Fuentes.
Thank you. Just a few items. First, 2 weeks ago, I had the opportunity, along with Dan Norris, who's in our audience here, to attend the safety symposium that was held through the County Office of Education, facilitated over at the Social Services Agency offices. It was really a great symposium to be a part of. There was quite a bit of safety areas of issue that were shared across the county, but what we really learned was the extensive amount of partnerships that exist across agency in the event that a school district ever did be faced with a very serious emergency or crisis. So we got to know who all of those partners are and the roles that they play. And they also did quite a bit with us in terms of just being thoughtful about different emergency procedures that we practice, different styles of doing threat assessment reviews and resources within the county that we can rely on for that support in terms of those protocols that we want to establish. Also had the opportunity to moderate a panel that afternoon with lots of the leaders across the county that are part of providing these supports. And so I share that knowing that this week we will be celebrating California's Shakeout, actually tomorrow. That's at 10/17. So just a friendly reminder to our community and to all of our schools that will be engaged in that. Really important that we're mindful of earthquake procedures, fire drills, and everything else under the sun so that we continue to keep our students safe and keep our communities safe. In addition, I know this year it's been new for us to have our roving art teachers at the elementary level. I was able to observe some of these art lessons this week that our teachers are doing with the students, and our primary kiddos are enjoying the art and learning all about, becoming illustrators and, in these early years. So definitely is a nice way to see our Prop 28 dollars being funded and supported. And on this agenda this evening, there were several items for new instruments at our middle schools. So also using those dollars in that manner. I also just wanted to express my thanks again to Dr. Nikki for her partnership and just the amazing leadership that she's been able to develop across the district with both our teachers and our classified staff. They're just doing tremendous work. And when you see the implication of that in the classroom with our students, it's pretty phenomenal. And I had the opportunity last year to hear one of our schools just kind of share that full spectrum of benefit from the support team on the site, the social worker, to the classroom teacher, to the student, to the parent, who had also shared how they had learned some of these strategies that have been really helpful on how they've engaged with their children at home. So really great to see, that that's the potential that can be expanded upon across the district. So thank you so much again for that incredible work. Also, we have lots of partnerships. We have a strong partnership with YMCA. One of their annual functions that they host each year is their annual Breakfast of Champions, where they recognize a variety of school folks that support the after-school programs, as well as community members that volunteer and provide a range of services. We've had lots of folks in Berryessa get recognized from time to time, and we have 2 this year that are going to get recognized this Friday, Dr. McCurry and Dr. Rayner over at Summerdale. So they'll be wanted to just make sure we give them their congratulations as Breakfast of Champions for this year in honor of our partnership with YMCA. And then also, again, reminder of our next school consolidation committee meeting. It's tomorrow. It will be at 6 p.m. right across the way at our County Office of Education building. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for the report, Dr. Fernandez. When you're speaking, just something, a question came to my mind when you're speaking about the what Dan did with the emergency preparedness. Is that correct? Just out of curiosity, does it include all sites, including the district office, number 1? And some of our school sites are shared, sites with other organizations like SJB and Sunshine School and things like that. Are they within the scope of that thing, or do we involve them in any way, or do we let them develop their own plans? How does that?
So first, every school site, as well as our district office, we're required to have a comprehensive safety plan. Those are the ones that we bring in each year that the schools work on at their site level in terms of identifying who their leaders are on site to be part of that ICS team, that incident commander team that they have to put together. So that's up for annual review each year. And then those get submitted here to the district. We bring them to the board. We're required to have those in place. Dan works closely with our fire department and police department, who also review those plans and sign off on those procedures, because they do annual audits with each school site, as well as the district offices, to do a check on, are those earthquake drills happening? Are those fire drills happening, to make sure these safety plans aren't just idle plans, but we are putting into practice what those safety procedures are. We're responsible for those that are within our walls, so to speak, right? So those that lease on our site are not required to be part of those emergency procedures, but can if they have interest in doing so. Because remember that their fence lines are also different from the site. But I think many of the sites do tend to incorporate them into those procedures, especially those that are there during the day. Some are there after school only. So they have a limited time frame that they're on campus.
Yeah, the only reason I thought of that is because I think many of our students take advantage of those after-school opportunities that are on site, and it'll be good to either extend that invitation to them, or maybe not extend the invitation, like share the plan with them, saying that, hey, this is what we expect of our school sites within our boundary, like you mentioned. If you have any questions, please feel free, or please collaborate with us for the benefit of everybody, because they're our students at the end of the day anyway. So, yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you for that report. Any comments and announcements from the board today? Trustee Hogg.
Yeah, I just want to quickly say that I will not be present at our next board meeting and the public hearing / study session that we are having because I'm traveling, but I wanted to communicate to the public that I will be taking the proper studying and investigation for this process. I am taking this very seriously, and I'm happy to meet with folks as well if you email me at my various emails. So just letting folks know, but enjoy the meeting without me.
We will miss you, Trustee Hogg there. Any other comments from anybody else before I say my piece? So I just wanted to bring up, because this is our next meeting is not until November the 12th, 13th, right? So just wanted to mention that because we have a large presence of Hindu and Jain people in our area. I wanted to mention that November 1st, actually October 31st and November 1st, we will be celebrating Diwali, which is the Festival of Lights. Many of our school sites do put together some programs for this purpose. Last year, I think, I want to say Majestic Way or Somerdale, one of those two sites, Somerdale, right? They had a very nice program with cultural dancing, and I got a chance to read some books and things like that. I hope we're able to bring that back. I look forward to it. But just to share with everybody, Diwali is called the Festival of Lights, celebrated by Hindus, Jains, and Sikhs across the globe. It symbolizes the victory of light over darkness, knowledge over ignorance, and good over evil. I know this by heart, but I'm still reading it. But during Diwali, we also engage in acts of charity, sharing our blessings with those in need. The spirit of giving reinforces our bonds as a community, reminds us of the importance of compassion. And there is a short verse in Sanskrit. I want to share a couple of lines with that makes sense during this time. The Sanskrit verse goes like this: Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. And the last part is not relevant, but the two lines, it means that lead me from ignorance to enlightenment, lead me from darkness to light, and may there be peace. That's the message of Diwali. I just wanted to share with everybody, and I hope to get a chance to visit some of the school sites. Hopefully they're able to put together a program this year too. And if any of you are free and they are inviting us, I hope you'll show up in your cultural costumes and participate freely. I look forward to that. Thank you so much. We'll move forward to, we have public hearing. So we have public hearing for disclosure of Teamsters Local 150 Collective Bargaining Agreement and BUSD. Dr. Fuentes.
It is recommended the board conduct a public hearing to receive comments from the public regarding disclosure of the Teamsters Local 150 Collective Bargaining Agreement and Berryessa Union School District.
All right, we'll now open public hearing. Any comments from the public on this topic? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. We'll move on to review and action. Item A says Superintendent Dr. Fuentes. Do you have anything under that?
No, nothing under item A.
All right, next is under business services. Item 1 is a disclosure of Teamsters Local 150 Collective Bargaining Agreement and BUSD. Dr. Fuentes.
It is recommended the board accept the certified disclosure of the Teamsters Local 150 Collective Bargaining Agreement from the Santa Clara County Office of Education.
Thank you. Are there any comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion on this item.
I vote for acceptance.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. And the disclosure has been, the certified disclosure has been accepted, correct? I just wanted to make sure I got the right terminology there. Next item is City of San Jose Emergency Management Premise. Is it premise use agreement or premises PUA with the BUSD for use of certain district facilities during emergency situations?
Thank you. It is recommended the board approve the City of San Jose's Office of Emergency Management Premise Use Agreement, PUA, for the use of Berryessa USD school sites during emergency situations. And this is specific to our middle school facilities.
Perfect. Any comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you so much. Next item under human resources, we have, is that correct? Approval of agreement between Teamsters Union Local 150 and BUSD. Dr. Fuentes.
It is recommended the board approve the contract language changes in the tentative agreement with Teamsters Local 150.
All right. Are there any comments? I'll entertain a motion on this.
Move to approve the contract language.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you so much. Next item is board policy 4111, recruitment and selection. Dr. Fuentes.
Just to share with the board for the next three items, 411, 4211, and 4311, the updates are similar, and they're to reflect new guidance from the California Department of Education and the Commission on Teacher Credentialing, which now encourages district staff to reflect the race and ethnicity of the students that they serve, and that be noted in the selection process of candidates to ensure a diverse staff across our school district. In addition, there's another new law SB 700, which also states that any applicants an agency is not allowed to inquire regarding prior use of cannabis. And so that is something new that is putting into the hiring process. So at this point, it is recommended the board review and approve board policy 4111, recruitment and selection for a first reading.
Can we approve all three in one?
You certainly can.
I'll entertain a motion on item 2, 3, and 4.
Move to approve.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0 on items 2, 3, and 4 for board policy changes. All right, under Ed Services, we have board policy 5144.1, suspension and expulsion due process. Dr. Fuentes.
It is recommended the board review and approve board policy 5144.1, suspension and expulsion due process for a first reading. This policy is going to reflect a new law change, SB 274, which extends the prohibition from suspending a student for disruption or willful defiance.
Or any comments from the board questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. All right, there you go. Next item is board policy 6159.2, non-public schools. Dr. Fuentes.
It is recommended the board review and approve board policy 6159.2, non-public schools for a first reading. This is also a policy update to reflect a lawsuit in the state of California, Davis Joint Unified School District Resolution Agreement with the U.S. Department of Ed, Office for Civil Rights, which references seclusion and restraint protocols and procedures that must also be applied to non-public schools that we engage with.
All right, are there any questions, comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Next item is board policy 6164.5, student success teams. Dr. Fuentes.
It is recommended the board review and approve Board Policy 6164.5, Student Success Teams for a first reading. This is also to update language based on current policy and best practice in the state of California. It incorporates the SST process, again reiterates it being a collaborative process amongst a team of staff as well as administrator and the parents. And it also incorporates this as one of these strategies in MTSS, our multiple tier system of support, that's incorporated in all of that work and trying to ensure our students have what they need to be successful.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Are there any comments, questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. And the next item is bond program, and number 1 is Barth Roofing Company, Inc., change order number 1 for bid B11 2022-23 for the roof replacement project at Northwood Elementary School, buildings 100, 200, 300, 400, and 500. Dr. Fuentes.
It is recommended the board approve this change order as stated. It is a credit for $73,920 back to the district.
Perfect. We'll take that. Any comments or motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Next item is JL Construction, Inc., change order number 1 for RFP 01 2022-23 design build new modular gymnasium building at Piedmont Middle School. Dr. Fuentes.
It is recommended the board approve this change order as stated. It is also a credit back to the district for $76,718.
All right. Perfect. Any questions, comments, or a motion on this item?
Move to approve.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. You have to be faster than that. You have to be faster than. Just kidding. Next item is Gold Coast Plumbing Services, Inc., ratification of CUPCCA lump sum agreement for patching and painting for the PA and security system equipment installations at Piedmont Middle School. Dr. Fuentes on this.
It is recommended the board ratify this agreement as stated. This is an additional cost for this project of $11,187.
All right. Any comments or questions or a motion on this item?
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. All right. Next item is KYA Services LLC, ratification of CUPCCAA lump sum agreement for toilet partition replacement at Piedmont Middle School.
It is recommended the board ratify this project agreement. It's related to the previous item, and it's an additional cost of $29,500.
All right. Thank you for that. Any questions or is there a motion on this?
Move to approve.
Before I go for a vote, what is the toilet partition replacement on this? Are we increasing this length of it or just replacing?
So as part of the window project, we're required to do ADA upgrades to the school. So that's what this is for.
Gotcha. Okay. I remember that. All right. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you for that. And then we have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Next item is Primal Painting, Inc., ratification of a CUPCCAA lump sum agreement for the painting of the monument signs at 10 elementary schools. Dr. Fuentes.
It is recommended the board ratify this agreement as stated. It is an additional cost of $13,250.
Thank you. Any questions or comments, or is there a motion on this item?
Move to approve.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. The last item on this list is Silicon Valley Paving, Inc., change order number 1 for bid B12 2023-24 outdoor basketball court renovation at Piedmont Middle School. Dr. Fuentes.
It is recommended the board approve this change order number 1 as stated. This is a credit back to the district for $8,237.
Perfect. We'll take that. And any comments or questions or a motion on this item?
Move to approve.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. All right, thank you for that. Next item is request for staff follow-up from anybody. All right, any items for future agendas? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment at this time.
Move to adjourn.
All right, moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned at 8:34. Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here.